Hello, I'm Parker Charter, and this is Jack. Or at least in this case, this is a piece of him. See, this is the skull of a rooster, in this case one that I had raised, as I said, named Jack. So to start off, I've always been a tad obsessed with chickens. Even when I was very young, they were just something that I had always wanted to own and really liked the idea of. And I believe it stems from my grandfather who raised them when I was very young, and anytime we went over there, I could not keep myself away from them, whether it was because I had a lot of fun going and gathering eggs, or the fact that half the time there were hens with chicks trailing them, and as a little kid, of course, that's fantastic. But either way, I quickly found myself obsessed with the birds, and when I finally got them, about 4 years ago, they've been probably my favorite thing. Jack, though, is a special case. See, around 2 years ago, we were in need of a new rooster. My hens were starting to be attacked by predators, and in general, I wanted the natural order of things to be restored. We had all female chickens and no male. So, I sourced from a friend of my father's, Jack. He was a handsome in an ugly way, barnyard mutt rooster, and he seemed perfect. He was big, healthy, he never attacked anyone, and he maintained this composure for about 2 years. Until, for one reason or another that I can't explain to this day, he started becoming really aggressive. First, it was with my little sister, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt because who could expect a rooster to tolerate a 4 or 5 year old girl messing with his hens every day for multiple years? Then it was my cousin, who almost never messes with the chickens. He had no reason to go after her. And then it was me, the one of all people he should know isn't going to hurt him. However, the line was drawn whenever he attacked Skippy. See, Skippy was the 30-pound grand champion turkey my mom had gotten from a 4-H fair that everybody loved, except for Jack. And Jack attacked Skippy to the point that Skippy didn't survive the encounter. He needed put down. He got an infection in his eye where Jack had pecked him. Jack had sealed his fate before he even could have had the idea of what such a thing meant. However, after Jack had been sent off to the not-so-honorary pot pie school, I recalled all the videos I watched of things like the Natural History Museum and other things where people will go through specimens and skulls, and they talk about how every bone tells a story. Every nick, divot, pathology, it talks about not just that animal as a species, but that individual. No two bones, especially skulls, are alike. And I thought I might not like Jack or the story that he as an animal tells, but it's still a story worth telling. Not only does it tell my love for chickens, the fact that I have a memoir of owning them no matter what, but also, him in particular is a conversation starter. Not just that, though. See, Jack, over time, has come to represent a sort of need to cope with failure. I mentioned he was the first rooster I'd ever gone out of my way to get. We needed him because we needed a new one, but I had never gotten one on purpose before, and he seemed perfect. Until he wasn't. In essence, he was a failed investment. I thought that he would have been the perfect solution to all of my chicken rearing ills, but he wasn't. And it hit pretty hard whenever I realized that the bird that I had banked on helping me as much as I thought he would ended up being a serious detriment to others around him. And so getting rid of him put me in a bit of a hard place. Not only did I need a rooster, but I also had to deal with the fact that my judgment had been seriously flawed. And in that way, he sort of taught me to cope with that. I still needed a rooster. I still needed to help my birds function naturally. And I was coping with an animal that I didn't like until we finally, processed him. And if I hadn't dealt with that, I wouldn't have the rooster I have now. His name is Big T. He's a huge purebred rooster that we managed to rescue because his owners couldn't keep him. And had I stuck with a rooster that nobody liked, we would have never gotten to that point. Big T is better than any bird I've ever raised. He was raised by a little girl before I got him, so he would never dream of hurting a child, including my sister. He's thrown some of the healthiest chicks I've ever seen. And if I had stuck with an angry barnyard mix who attacks turkeys and small children, I would have never been able to grow to the point that I have now with the health of my flock. And I feel like me as a person, I tend to have issues with failure, not just with my birds, but in general. I can be really put down whenever I mess up, and it can sometimes lead me away from doing things that might make my life better, because I'm so worried I might mess up. And so, in a way, this nasty rooster being a failure helped me grow and realize that you're going to fail. It's always going to happen. What you need to do is roll with the punches, or in this case, the rooster flogs.